Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back again to the WedEd podcast.
To episode 18.
Oh my God.
We're pros now.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the camera is on us directly, which means that we do have a very special guest with us today. And I cannot tell you how special she really is.
We literally manifested her coming.
It's true. This is how this has happened. Is honestly, it's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So we would like to introduce you, Nadia Duran.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe it. You are so beautiful, and it's manifesting me being here with you. So thank you so much for having me.
I'd like to say that you came all the way from Australia just for the WedEd podcast.
Just for the
but
WedEd.
Let's pretend.
She wasn't here for anything else.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So Nadia, what
Yes.
we're going to do first is just ask you to just talk to us and
Yes.
just tell us a little bit about who you are, how long you've been in the industry, and
Yes.
what you do.
Fantastic. Well, I'm Nadia Duran. I was born in Mexico, and that's why I have this cute accent. But I'm from Australia. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I was electrical engineer before, nothing to do with weddings. But somehow life brought me to weddings, or weddings called me, right? So I've been in the industry for 18 years. I started from the garage of my house in Sydney, Australia. And over the years, it grew to multiple warehouses in Australia, more than 30 employees. Obviously, life has being up and down. And then I started doing destination weddings over the last decade. I've been doing weddings and events in more than 40 different countries. And my whole business have been evolving from weddings, corporate events. In the last maybe 5 years, I've been doing a lot of Christmas decor all around Australia. And now I'm even going internationally with Christmas. Some hotels around the world have been asking me, come and do Christmas for us. And I'm just discovering and changing, evolving. But the weddings and events is my passion. It's my industry. I love sharing. I love celebrating. I love people. And I think that's why I'm here in this industry. And I love to party.
So right now, I'd say a lot of
Yes.
people in the industry know you for your floral design.
Yes.
And as you've just said, it hasn't always been that way. But would you say that it's very important for somebody to specialize in a certain thing in this industry?
Yeah, specializing is great because then you find a niche, you become an expert. People come to you because they know you are the expert at that. You can position yourself at a different level in the industry when you are an expert in an area. But it also has other negative consequences, I guess, that, for example, look at ourselves in COVID, right? If you were just a florist or if you were just an event planner, that was it. There was nothing for you. But if you were able to be an expert in multiple different areas, then you wouldn't be as affected. In my case, for example, I've been doing a lot of public speaking as well. I've been doing a lot of motivational speaking, which I love sharing. And during COVID, I continue working in that sense because I did a few courses. Then I continued doing training and teaching at schools. So even though I was not doing weddings and events, I was still receiving some sort of income because I had some expertise in other areas. So that's why I think it is always important to have multiple sources of income, specialize yourself in many different things, and always remember that we are not born with skills. Every skill can be learned.
I like that.
You learned absolutely everything. We are born with some talents, right? Some people have some talent, some people don't have any talent. However, every skill can be learned. And I said this to my son, and my son was like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. I said, you cannot use that word.
Yeah.
You just have to say, I don't know how to do this now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this yet. But everything is a skill. So if you specialize in an area, great. Congratulations, you have reached a level, but you can continue on to another one. Why not?
Yeah.
Now, with planning and designing, it's very competitive, right? There's a lot of planners out there. There's a lot of designers out there. And it is great. I think there is room for everybody. But what is really important is your personal brand, who you are. If you know yourself. And this is a little bit difficult because some people said, oh, I am romantic or I'm very feminine. It's great. You really need to know who you are.
Yeah.
And that's how our business starts. Who are you? Who are you as a person? How do you like to dress? How do you like to show yourself? First of all, identify yourself, who you are as a person, because then from there you can grow your personal brand. From there you start finding who your clients are, who are the people who you're going to attract. And yeah.
That's so interesting you say that, because obviously Laura and I have just brought out these courses to teach people how to become a wedding planner. And we have a whole module on teaching you how to find your own niche.
Yes.
To really understand what it is that you want to become, because you can't create a personal brand without knowing who you are. So it's really amazing that you said that. And obviously we can see what you're trying to attract, because you're sat there in a dress full of flowers, which brings me on really nicely to our next question. Now, for those of watching the podcast, I'm sure some of you would know this if you follow Nadia. If you don't, I'm going to tell you something that's just happened in Nadia's life. So she's just had a rose named after her. So, tell us how that happened.
It's crazy, isn't it? Well, first of all, this is a true example that every dream can come true.
Absolutely.
Right? And I don't want to cry, but it has been a dream of mine since since I started my career for like 20 years. I always thought one day I will have a rose, and I would love a rose to be named after me. And why a rose? I find roses very romantic. Again, I'm talking about personal brand, right? Your own identity. I love roses. They're feminine. They speak to me. I feel like roses is the universal love language of love. In any color, you can express your love to your friends, to your family, to your partners through roses. And I love many other flowers. I love hydrangeas and orchids, but roses have always spoken to my heart. But so I always had that dream. And I came across this particular brand, Vaughan Roses, the Vaughan Spray Roses. I came across to them a year ago. I did a destination wedding in Greece, and I ordered flowers from my local supplier in the Netherlands. And when I received the roses, I was in shock, because one stem of a spray rose of Vaughan roses have 5 to 6 heads, and after they open, they become like this big and multi-layers, different levels. And that's the way I design florals in different levels. And when I saw a Vaughan spray rose, I said, oh my God, I've never seen a spray rose like this. In Australia, they're not like that. And I immediately called the supplier and I said, what are these roses? I'm just obsessed. And that's how I came across the Vaughan brand. And I could not sleep. I tell you, for a month, I could not get that thing out of my head. The same way as when I started my career as a wedding planner, I did not stop thinking, I want to be a planner. The same way I started thinking, I need to be a brand ambassador. I need to have this rose under my name. And eventually I came across them. I contacted them and I did a full introduction. I said, this is who I am. This is who is Nadia Duran. This is what I have done in the industry, and I would love to have the opportunity to be your brand ambassador. And it took a little while for them to obviously evaluate the proposal, because it's not straightforward. Developing a rose can take up to 8 years from the moment that they design the seeds. They need to understand how long the stem is going to be, how many petals, design the color of the rose, the smell, absolutely everything, and do the testing, because not every flower will grow in every condition. So, but by the time that all these conversations were happening, they were already designing a rose that they didn't know what name they were going to give to that flower, right? And then when we met, they said, we have this flower that we have been waiting for a special name, and we're so excited to give this flower your name, because you bring so much love and light to the world. You have created a big impact in the wedding industry, and for us to name this flower after you is a big honor. So it was like a perfect match, right? It was a perfect match on earth. And that's how the whole collaboration started. And I have to go back and forth to the Netherlands a few times, to the greenhouse. So it has been a long process, but yes, it's all done. The name was available, which is also, incredible.
It was just meant to be.
It was was meant to be. It is trademark registered, so it's a legacy. There is a Nadia Duran rose now for generations to come. If tomorrow we're not here, if I am not here, that name hopefully will last forever.
Wow. So all these beautiful stories and all these successes that you've had, but obviously knowing you personally, like your life journey hasn't been so plain sailing, has it, over the last couple of years? And I have no words, but I think it's really important because I came to watch your keynote on the weekend, and you had an amazing message, which is going to be a bit of a deep conversation, but I think it would be really beneficial for our audience to hear that.
Yes, I mean, that is life, right? It's not always roses. I wish it was always roses because I love roses, but it is life. It's a journey, ups and downs, and that you're right. I was speaking on the weekend about manifesting the beautiful things because not everything is easy, and I was sharing my journey. As I said, I started in the wedding and event industry 18 years ago. I started my business when I was, after I got married because I discovered the love for weddings. But after 13 years of marriage, I went through a divorce. I went through a very difficult and very nasty court case, and very difficult. And it resulted on losing the business. I had to sell everything, absolutely everything. I have to split everything because I started the business during the marriage, so I lost it. I lost Events by Nadia, which was my first baby, so I have to start again from zero. And that was a message, even though I lost Events by Nadia, I didn't lose the Nadia, right? The Nadia remained in me.
He could never take that away from you.
That's why your personal brand is so important.
That's
again,
so
going back to
important. Absolutely. The brand is so important. The last day when I had to leave Events by Nadia, I remember I switched off the computer and I said, I can never, ever access this email again. I can never answer this phone again. I can't even share these photos again. And I just, I closed everything and I left. I lost it all, but I started again. And then that was just before COVID, and I feel like, okay, I'm getting there, and then COVID came, so you go down again. But as I said, if you have different areas that you can specialize in, then you have multiple sources of income and different areas that you can rely on. And that's how being resilient is about, right? About being to camouflage yourself and being resourceful. And that's the ultimate definition of being resilient. Be able to come up with different plan B, plan C, plan Z till you get to AA and you continue to your next plan. And then again, I fall in love again, and I found love again. And it's very interesting because I was planning weddings and people were asking me, oh, how long you been married for? Tell us about your wedding. How was your wedding? And I'm in the middle of a court case, right? So that was very challenging. But then I fell in love again. And 2 years into my relationship, my partner passed away and he died in my arms. I had to make the decision to disconnect him from life support. And that was another message that I was saying the day of the keynote, that I was such a control freak. I always controlled everything in my life. And then I'm confronted in life to not being able to control life. And I have to surrender and let the universe to do what it had to do. The only thing I had in my control was the time and the day that my partner had to die. So I surrender in that moment, and that was the message. When you surrender and stop controlling the things that you can't control, something else happens. Different magic comes to you. And I realized that I had the power of choice. I could choose the things that I could control in that time. And yeah, I surrendered.
It's incredible, isn't it?
I wasn't expecting
Laura didn't know that story. Laura didn't know that story, and I think that it's a massive testament to who you are as a person, which is why Laura and I really wanted to have you on here.
Thank
you are just incredible. So we'll lighten the mood now. Before Laura cries.
No, I was really
I mean, we're a bit speechless over here, aren't
It's
we?
the first time, to be honest, we've had a guest on and I've just been listening in awe. Honestly, you're incredible. And it makes everything that you've done even more deserving and
Thank you.
beautiful. It's just absolute testament to everything that you've done in your career. But looking at your career as a whole, would you say that you've personally made any huge mistakes or do you have any regrets?
Regrets? No, I've learned that not to regret anything. Mistakes? Many. And that's part of process and life. One of the mistakes that I done a lot and many times, and sometimes I continue doing it, is taking on a lot more than I can handle.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yes, and especially when I first started my career and I was not from Australia, I didn't have a network system. I have to create everything from zero. I wanted to prove to everybody that I could do it. Everybody from the industry, my vendors, my clients, my family, myself. I wanted to prove everybody that I could do it. And I had the energy to do it. So I was taking probably too much. I remember sleeping 4 hours a day for a long, long time. And then you stop looking after yourself. You know, when I less realized I was 25 kilos overweight because I never had time to properly cook or to go to the gym or to look after myself. I also suffer from something called trichotillomania. I don't know if you know what trichotillomania is. Trichotillomania is a obsessive compulsive disorder when you pull out your hair.
Okay.
When you have very strong periods of stress, and it affects 1 out of every 10 women in this world, and I have it. So during that time when I take too much work, I just find myself, like playing with my hair, and when I less realize there's a whole bunch of hairs on the floor. So I've been going through very heavy periods of trichotillomania, again, like not eating really well. I don't do that right now, but I remember when I was starting my business, you grow in your brand, but then you are neglecting yourself. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes I did when I first started. Luckily, I was able to find my way through training. I remember looking at myself one day in the mirror and I said, I can't look like this. My weddings look amazing and my bank account looks perfect. But what about myself? I remember after I had a shower, I was so unhappy with myself. So that day I said, I can't look like this. So when I need help. So I first went and I joined an outdoor training group and slowly do training and dieting. And I engaged a business coach over the years. I invest into live coaching. And it's a process, nothing is overnight. It takes a long time. And after a year, I got rid of the weight. I started controlling my hair habits. My business started growing in a more steady way. My team started being happier because I was less stressed. And they started feeling more comfortable coming to work without having an angry manager. So, yeah, it affects everything. But I think that has been one of the biggest mistakes, trying to do too much, more than what I could handle. So if I could give a piece of advice to anyone who is starting in the business is learn your limits and never neglect yourself, because first of all, you need to be happy. A happy you will be a happy everything, a happy mother, a happy wife, a happy manager, a happy wedding planner. So first of all is you. And now it's all about me, to be honest. I look after myself first, then everything else. Some of my clients said to me, but how do you have time to get your nails done and do your lashes and do your hair and makeup before? I said, I have to feel good. I have to. I wake up now every day. I train 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't stop training because I have learned the hard way that it's always first me and then everything else.
And you're representing your brand at the end of the day as well. So if you don't look good or feel good, it's going to have a negative connotation on your business.
That's right.
Love it.
I mean, I feel like we both need to go to the gym after this.
I know, I haven't been in the gym. So we have a lot of people that follow us who maybe aren't even in the industry, but they're kind of maybe interested in dipping their toes in. Now that's amazing advice that you've just given them. Is there anything else that you would advise them to do when they're first starting out? Like you started with rentals.
Yes.
Is that something that you would recommend them do now, or as the sort of industry's evolved, would you say something different?
No, I think education is a key to everything. There's no other secret, really. Education, and whether it's a training course, I know like you have now recently launched your new platform.
www.theweded.com.
Education is key to everything, right? So educate yourself, whether you do online courses. If you really want to get into destination, for example, attend different events that are happening around the world. And people come to me and say, Nadia, how do you do it? And I said, one day I woke up in Italy. No, it's not like that, right? I started researching. How can I collaborate with planners that are doing weddings internationally? What are the areas that I would like to work? I just want to share something with you. I did one destination wedding in Serbia many years ago, and I had no idea about how to do weddings in Serbia. But this one was a big wedding that I had to plan. I went and lived in Serbia for 3 months before the wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was preparing myself. Like I was planning every contingency plan because I've never done a wedding in Serbia before. I didn't know how Serbia was going to react to a wedding. Anyway, just to give you an example. So if you want to do a destination wedding, you say, people, I want to do weddings in Italy. How much do you know about Italy? Right? How much time have you spent in Italy? You know, I've been on holidays. Okay, it's great, but go there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Stay there in the city, in the region where you want to do the weddings. Recently, I was in Mexico. I was speaking at a Latin American conference, and there was this beautiful wedding planner, and she says, I did a wedding in Spain, and I'm going on the weekend to London. My daughters are studying in London. And I said, great. I said, how many venues did you know in London? And she said, none. I said, what do you mean none? How often did you go to London? And she said, well, my daughters are studying there. I go every 6 months. I said, every 6 months that you go to London, you should be doing site inspections.
Yeah.
You have to be contacting, minimum, contact the venues and say, I'm a wedding planner in Latin America. I might not have clients yet, but I need to know your venues. I need to know your event spaces. You need to start blogging. You need to start putting content on your social media. I am in London. I am visiting this restaurant. I am visiting this hotel. This is a suite. Can you imagine having your hair and makeup done in this room? You never know who is watching your stories, right? You never know who is watching your social media. So being relevant, putting content, the correct content, I think that's really important.
Amazing.
And then going back to your clients,
Yes.
have you actually had any really weird, strange requests in terms of design?
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting question because every client says, I want my wedding to be different.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when they come to me, it's because they like my style, right? And my style is very romantic, feminine, very timeless. I love flowers. I love representing who the couple anyway, but I do remember this particular client, and I don't have many photos of this wedding. I have maybe 4 or 5 photos of this wedding. It was a Gothic couple, goth, yes, and they were always in black, and a beautiful bride and groom. And she said, I want to get married in a cemetery. And I was like, okay. I was a bit scared. I know. And then but this is the thing, because when she told me, I thought it was for different reasons because of her fashion, right? And again, the human ego was thinking, I started judging and thinking, oh my God, she's not for me. That's not who I am. But then I asked her, I said, why? And she said, because so many of my family members have passed away.
Oh, wow.
And they can't be at the wedding. And she said, and I want to bring the wedding to them. So it completely changed, you see? And now I would totally do it again, especially after what I have been through. So we did it. And so the message changed, and it was a beautiful ceremony. We didn't have white flowers. We had red roses. It was so beautiful. And we had some smoke machines.
I love
It was
that.
amazing. It was so beautiful. And after the ceremony, we went to a reception, and we have all the theming was with cages and birds inside the cages, black cages, lots of ivy, English ivy. It was really nice. It was really beautiful. But that was a very crazy wedding we
It
had.
shows the importance of connecting with the client as well, because I mean, it's easy for us to judge from a brief.
Exactly.
But you could have potentially lost a really, a big,
Exactly.
a big piece in your portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I think we've come to the end of all of our questions.
oh no.
So we would just like to. I know, I could listen to you forever, and I know this is the quietest she has ever been on a
I'm
podcast.
like in awe. Literally, you're incredible.
Literally, I've never seen her so quiet and struck before. So thank you so much. Your
my
stories,
pleasure.
they're so authentic. It's so you, and I think that people have so much to learn from you. And I hope everybody watches to the end, because I think that they'll learn so much from you, even if they just took away having the right mindset that you have.
Yeah.
I think it can completely transform anybody's life. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We are
I'll wait.
so grateful.
I'll wait for you in Australia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're ready for
You don't
it.
have to ask me twice.
So what we're going to ask you to do now, which is what
Yes.
we ask everybody to do, if you could just look at your camera over there and tell the audience why they should watch the WedEd podcast.
Yes, it's an education platform. As I said it before, education is the key to success. So you have it here, use it, take advantage of it. These beautiful ladies have spent a lot of time creating it, putting all their mind, their heart, and their soul into sharing, and I think is very valuable. This industry is not saturated. We need new planners, we need new people, eager people, but educated people. So please come, enjoy the platform, and I'll see you doing a few weddings with me.
Amazing. That was perfect.
Thank you so much. Honestly,
Yep,
you're
thank
incredible.
you.
You're such a beautiful person,
Thank
and
you.
we're
You are.
honoured to have you on the podcast.
Thanks, my pleasure.
Absolutely. Right then. So thank you so much once again for watching our 18th episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We know that we definitely did. I know Laura did. She's so quiet.
Honestly,
I can't even
I
imagine.
can't wait to continue the discussion after this podcast finishes. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to
Like and subscribe.
and yeah, if you are interested in getting into the industry, don't forget that our WedEd Academy is now live. We will put the link in the description where you can take a look at everything we have to offer. And don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram for all of our updates and our lovely content that we spend so much time producing.
And the same for Nadia. Nadia, what is your Instagram handle?
Yep.
Nadia Duran.
Just like that.
That's it. Like Duran, just Nadia Duran.
Well, thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you for the next one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.